Senator Thayer.
Senator Scott, please cast your vote and then explain.
I vote aye, Mr. President, and I appreciate the sentiments of my good friend, the senator from Jefferson 19. We have communicated often during this process, Mr. President. We've been collaborative with members of the minority party. Indeed, there are items in this budget that were requested by the members of the minority party that have been included, and things that they didn't want included that are not included. And so I appreciate that collaboration on this process. Like the senator from Perry alluded to, I've never voted for a perfect budget either. I've voted on every budget in this chamber since 2004, and I've never voted no. I've always voted yes, and I've always had reservations about doing so. But, Mr. President, we can't give up the good for the sake of the perfect. This is a good budget. The senator from Kenton and his colleague, the gentleman from McCracken, down in the House chamber, have worked for months and months and months to get us to this day. And where we were headed just a couple of weeks ago, Mr. President, was an unprecedented level of funding for public education, an increase in funding for post-secondary education, raises across the board for state employees, the ability for local school boards through the SEEK formula to give raises to classified and certified employees. But then the bottom fell out, and we had to turn on a dime. And indeed, the executive branch collaborated with us. Members of the senator from Jefferson 19's party met with us and indeed encouraged us to do this one-year budget with no raises and budgeting to the worst possible economic forecast that we had in our hands. So no, it is not a perfect budget. It is a good budget, assembled with the best information we have at this time. And indeed, Mr. President, that information is changing literally by the day. It means that we will be doing budgets for 3 sessions in a row, at least, unprecedented. One of the many leftover negative effects of this coronavirus crisis that we find ourselves in. But this budget gets as close to a bipartisan budget as any I've seen during the time I've been up here, as we have laid down our partisan armor and put together a budget that will spend from July 1 of 2020 to June 30th of 2021, unless called into a special session by the governor or we do some sort of mid-range correction next year in special session. The gentlemen who have crafted this, along with the staff at the LRC and the staff in the Speaker's office and the President's office, deserve a lot of credit. We were headed towards a budget that reflected a growing economy until the bottom fell out, Mr. President, and then we were able to turn on a dime and present, under very difficult circumstances, a spending plan that sends a message that the people's branch of government is on the job under difficult circumstances to keep the doors open for state government across this Commonwealth beginning July 1. I'm proud of my colleague, the senator from Kenton, and everyone else who put their fingerprints on this budget, and I proudly vote aye.